Secretary of State Blinken is set to meet with the Russian foreign minister tomorrow. President Biden saying any move made by Russia on Ukraine will be met with severe economic sanctions. NewsNation correspondent Kelly Meyer live at the Capitol. So, Kelly, how are lawmakers responding to the president's latest comments?
Well, Nicole, a mixed reaction here on Capitol Hill to the president suggesting that a minor incursion by Russia be met with a lesser response. Republicans saying that this gives Putin the green light. Democrats defending the president, saying that in a nearly 2-hour press conference, some of the words might not come out the way you want them to, and they say he is on top of this situation. But those words alarming lawmakers not only on Capitol Hill, but allies overseas, prompting a new message from the president today.
Today, President Biden is cleaning up his own comments about a potential Russian invasion of Ukraine.
I've been absolutely clear with President Putin. He has no misunderstanding. If any assembled Russian units move across the Ukrainian border, that is an invasion.
The president sparking confusion after suggesting in his news conference Wednesday that what he described as a minor incursion may be met with a limited U.S. response.
Russia will be held accountable if it invades, and it depends on what it does. It's one thing if it's a minor incursion and then we end up having a fight about what to do and not do, etc.
Today, Republicans on Capitol Hill seizing on the president's words.
What's a minor incursion? 1,000 people died, 2,000 people died, 5,000 people died? That's a minor incursion?
After weeks of vowing to help deter and defend against a Russian invasion, including assurances by the Secretary of State and a group of visiting senators, Biden's words landing with a thud in Ukraine. The country's president tweeting today, "We want to remind the great powers that there are no minor incursions and small nations, just as there are no minor casualties and little grief for the loss of loved ones." Secretary of State Antony Blinken working to patch things up abroad, holding 2 press conferences Thursday in Berlin to reiterate the U.S. commitment and warning Russia there would be swift, severe consequences if Moscow's forces step foot into Ukraine.
I have come to Berlin at a moment of great urgency for Europe, for the United States, and I would argue for the world.
With the world watching, Moscow now showing off new silent submarines and tanks as concerns grow that an invasion could come at any moment. President Biden leaving this warning.
Let there be no doubt at all that if Putin makes this choice, Russia will pay a heavy price.
And Nicole, today the U.S. already acting, sanctioning 4 people allegedly working to destabilize Ukraine. The Treasury Department saying that these are separate and distinct from a range of what they call high-impact sanctions they are threatening should Russia invade. Nicole?
All right, so no, Kelly, as you said, there could be an attack really at any moment. Is there anything else the U.S. can do at this point to avoid a potential invasion?
Well, I spoke with one of the Republican senators who traveled with that bipartisan group to Ukraine this week. He said we really are in the 11th hour here, and that's why he stressed the importance of Congress, the White House, and allies remaining united in pushing back against Russia. That's why it was so significant the president come out today and say he is in lockstep with our NATO allies and with Ukraine in standing up to Russia. Tomorrow, the Secretary of State will be meeting with his Russian counterpart in another effort to head off a potential invasion. Nicole?
Yes, unification really key. All right, Kelly, thank you. Thank you for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.